echoes resonate from a place beyond space and time. A place of existence long before our own, long before the gods. A place that never existed, yet always existed. Not the echoes of our loved ones, not the ones that bring us back to feel their presence, nor the echoes that remind us how small we are in an existence both infinitely full, yet infinitely empty. But echoes like the stars that remind us of what once was and is, and their devastating power to bring both life and absolute ruin. Like the memories that bleed our hearts dry, memories that take away everything. Okay, we should be live. And it is live. Sweet. Things are working. Yay. Hi, everybody. It's been a long time since I've done this, so I'm be very rusty at it. So welcome to the first episode of, what's it called? Echoes in the Ether? Cool. I'd like to just go around real quick and we'll just introduce ourselves to everybody who's watching. People who may not know us. You can talk about your character if you'd like to in brief detail, because we'll introduce those as we go along, of course. But starting off to, I guess would be my right on the stream, Casey.
Hi, I'm Casey, KCH on the socials. I'm playing a Horizon Walker human. Wait, that way. Karl.
Hi, I'm Karl, and I'm playing Kahareth, who is a paladin.
We will skip over MK, who is not here this week. I'm Jovar Celestia, and I am playing Arphef, the Dwarven War Cleric.
Hello, I'm Aras. I'm going to be playing Tabitha, the rogue/bard.
Nice. And as Jeff had, I didn't call it Jeff or Jovar. I don't know. I should have probably said that before stream, huh?
Both work.
As he said, we are missing an MK today because she decided she was going to take a different gig at the same time we were going to start our stream. So I'm not sore about it, but just saying there might be repercussions next week. So anyway, let me get into my spiel and then we'll just go ahead and drop right into the game. What do you guys say?
Let's just jump right into it. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Excellent. So let me bring in some tunes and we will get started. In the heart of the Outlands, atop an infinite spire, resides Sigil, the city of doors, or more aptly named, the Cage. And inside this torus-shaped structure, denizens from all across the multiverse hurry and bustle across the streets. Sort of pan our camera down to the street and we see what looks like a mud puddle almost residing in these cobblestones. And it's tinged with this crimson fluid that's swirling around in it, and we see a footstep drop into it. And then it runs off. And then another. And another more hurriedly than the last. We look behind this scene. We see tendrils of azure energy just begin to yank and tear at the structures that make up this metropolis, and draw these long swaths of ruin deep into the underbelly of the city, seemingly radiating from no distinct point in particular. And we see these rivers of crimson viscera pool into the ditches, flowing freely like rainwater towards a central figure who stands almost impossibly large. Her masked face swept back with long blades that seemed to pierce the very air itself. And with an impossible quickness, we see creatures of nightmarish existence torn into non-existence before her, without so much as a gesture on her part. And then we see these tendrils again begin to envelop her, yanking her arms free from her simple but dark robes, lashing out around her neck and tugging her head back in a massive snapping sound. The Lady of Pain slowly begins to descend to the streets as she is pulled down towards them, and a gaping maw materializes before her, its lips pulled back, exposing these black gums as teeth like yellowed razors lash out towards her. But this isn't our story. At least not yet it isn't. Here we swoop in from a much earlier time, past the smoke of cooking fires and the soft cold drizzle during the peak of the day, and a large anxious crowd that bustles around a makeshift gallows set up in the thoroughfare of the hive. And like the buzzing of insects, these creatures from all across the plains inch towards the scene as if hungry for the soon-to-be decaying meat of a poor Burke set to be executed. Did I scare you with my intro? God, I was
It was so good.
Yeah.
Keep
God, I was-
going.
Is their stream frozen? Or is it just my internet? Okay. Let me change the music a little bit now. So we have, I'm going to probably butcher your all's names as this goes. Is it Kahareth?
Got it.
So you're standing with your group of comrades not far from this scene, watching this black hooded figure stand next to what is a half man, half goat almost looking creature with this noose around its neck. It's got its arms tied in front of it. And you know that this man is set to be executed. For what crimes is not really sure. But he definitely looks very down and pale, sort of looking around anxiously, as if looking for some way to escape a fate that he cannot escape on his own.
And my comrades are
Who are your comrades? Give me a couple names, a couple faces.
well, I'm asking, is this the faction with I am which
Yes.
I am associated? Okay,
Yes.
so these harmonium fellows would be the tall one, Lou, that I hang out with often, and Gil, the fat one. Yes, we're watching and we're just assuming that this is all right and proper, and this is exactly how everything's supposed to go.
Yeah, so you're standing with your two comrades, and not far from you, you see a group of what you would assume to be a group of mercy killers. They seem to be a little bit closer to the gallows. Perhaps they're the ones who are really responsible for this. You are just more or less there to keep the peace, so some sort of brawl or worse doesn't overcome this square in the thoroughfare. Casey, you have to tell me your name because I'm not 100% sure how to say it.
Ilya Hin.
Ilya Hin.
The full, but you could just Ilya. It's fine.
Okay, so we have Ilya Hin, Tabitha, and Arphef. Sort of mixed in with this crowd. You guys have come upon this scene. The light rain sort of, it's cold and it's a little damp, but it's not too overpowering. And you're sort of moved in with this crowd, as you can't really escape it, but they're pushing you towards this scene, this gallows, and everyone's so excited around them. No one's really sure why or what's going on in particular. They're just excited to see someone being hanged.
Once no one's looking, I think I'm gonna duck into an alleyway and see if I can get a better look topside from one of the roofs.
Okay, so you want to climb up somewhere and take a better look?
Yeah, I don't like being around this many people, and I don't like being pushed.
Okay.
I would actually like to do the same.
Okay.
I find myself new to this city, so I would kind of make my way towards the front to see what kind of activity is going on.
Okay. Cool. Since you two are you trying to? I'm assuming you're not trying to be seen as you're doing this, but I could be incorrect, or you don't care either way. I'm
Don't
not
want to
sure.
be seen.
Not at all.
Okay, and then go and give me a couple of stealth checks, please.
It's a 10.
10. I'll tell you, go and give it me with advantage since we have this scene going on around us and people are more enthralled with the hanging about to happen.
Oh yeah.
Make that a 19.
19.
23.
23. Okay. I'm not going to make you make the climbing checks. These buildings around here aren't of the best quality, so there's plenty of handholds and footholds to worm your way to the top. And what you see is somewhat what I've already described. I mean, there's several dozen people who have pushed towards this gallows. You see a group of harmonium, which if you knew Kahareth, I don't know if you guys had a backstory with him, you would have noticed him. And not far from his group, closer to the gallows, is a group of mercy killers. Another faction within the city. Let's go to Arphef real quick. Arphef, so you're standing at the front of this and you're looking upon this creature. The rest of you would probably recognize it almost immediately as a barrier. But Arphef, you're pretty new to the city. You liken almost like a centaur except with goat features. It's the hooves and the curled horns. Get a check here. Natural 20. Excellent. I'm starting off right. So this creature looks down upon you, Arphef, with these pleading eyes. Hey. Hey. Come closer.
My curiosity would have me step forward.
Listen, I don't know what's going on here exactly, but if you help me out, I'll make it worth your while, yeah?
I don't know how I could possibly help you through all this.
Well, do you have any friends, comrades, anything? I didn't do what they said I did.
Well, I find myself in not much a better place than you here in this city, but with no friends or allies. But what have they accused you of?
Said something about me stealing secrets. I no clue what they're talking about. I don't deal in secrets. I mean, look at me.
Oh, I've been looking at you.
Sort of gives you an off look on that comment. Are you from around here?
Sadly not. This is all foreign to me, my friend, my new met friend.
Fuck, the first person that talks to me gotta be some goddamn primer.
Come
Look,
again?
listen, Burke. If you can help me out of here, I'll make it worth your while, I promise. I've got 400 or 500 gold pieces for you.
What do you propose in the sight of all these people? I couldn't possibly.
You're somewhat clever looking, I suppose, because you don't make a distraction, cut me free. I don't know, pay it off. I'll pay you back. I don't care.
Quickly, is he set to be hung? Is that what you said?
Yes.
With a rope?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm contemplating sanctuary, but I'm not sure that'll actually preclude a hanging.
I don't think it would. And how are you being quiet when you speak with them, or normal toned, or?
I would have stepped forward close enough to hear, and I would be speaking in hushed tones.
Hushed tones, okay. So,
is this drawing attention? How close do I get to this guy, and am I surrounded on all
um,
sides?
I mean, you have people to your left and your right and your back, of course, but the executioner herself doesn't seem to be very much occupied with it. He's probably used to seeing people pleading. Um, I know that Tabitha and Elia, is that how you pronounce it? Excellent. I'm gonna get this eventually. You definitely see from where you're at, you do see him sort of leaning towards and talking to this. I think it's a dwarven figure, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I don't believe I've ever met him, so I will. Really, I should say anyone who does happen to see Tabitha would see a very slight figure, robed in a short black robe, cowl hood, with a blue shirt and tight-fitting black pants and soft black leather boots, standing atop a roof, just surveying the scene. Box about that large strapped to her back. She doesn't recognize this person, but she definitely takes note of it.
I have Kahareth. Let's go ahead and make us a perception.
You got it, bucko. That is a 15.
15. Okay, so you're definitely not going to see the two people perched on the top there, but you are going to see this dwarven figure talking to this warrior. They seem to be a little engrossed in conversation back and forth. Can't quite hear what they're saying from the roar of the crowd and their hushed tones, but definitely takes notice. And you do see also that the Doom Guard are taking a little bit of notice to this as well.
How do Lou and Gil feel about this development?
Lou not so much. Gil seems a little bit more anxious, on edge. Perhaps just from the sheer amount of people that are here. Sort of strides a little bit closer to you. So what do you make of the Doomies being here, huh? These mercy killers.
Well, they're always taking our fun, aren't they?
Something just doesn't smell right about this.
You think that guy? You think there's something funny about him? The small one?
You talking about the little dwarf up there, or?
Yeah. Is that who you're talking about?
Well, I don't recognize him. He's kind of odd to see even the primers out here in the hive. But that barrier, he sort of wiggles his finger. I know him from somewhere. Just can't quite place where it is.
So based on this conversation, I would get the idea that me and my colleagues did not apprehend this fellow. Someone else apprehended him.
Yes.
Do I recognize him?
Vaguely. You think you may have seen him before around a place called the Butcher's Block. Just large alehouse in the hive. You've been there a few times, some brawlings and stuff. Always seemed to keep to himself, though. Never had any trouble out of him. Strange that someone would be hanging that doesn't really seem to have a nefarious purpose. At least not that you know of.
Do you know why he's being hung?
Sort of leans back. 100% sure, to be honest. I mean, I guess we could go talk to the Mercy Killers, but I'm sure they're not going to give us straight answers. More likely to put us in the dead book than anything else.
Probably did something.
He sort of shrugs it off and leans back against one of these disheveled buildings. What are the three of you doing? Just watching?
Quickly, I've got two quick questions.
Absolutely.
One, is the noose already around this creature?
It is. It's not like taut,
Yeah.
but it is definitely around his neck, and his front hand or his hands are bound together.
Okay. Arphef would give a quick kind of look around. Is there any either alleyway or corner street area that is within line of sight of this that he could make his way towards?
There's at least 4 different ways that he could exit this. There's a couple alleys really off to each of his sides, to we'll say the north and south, and also about a 45-degree angle behind him. There's a couple more going either way.
Got it.
Besides the main thoroughfare that you're in currently, where he's not going to go
Okay.
straight ahead, of course.
Got it. Arphef would look to this centaur goat-like creature and say, "Look, I'm sorry," and kind of put his hands up. There's nothing I can do. I'm so sorry. And then he would make his way no further than 120 feet away in one of those the 45-degree angle alleyways, indifferent on which one.
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
Would I know why this person is being hung? I talk to a lot of people.
Why don't you make me an insight? Maybe something different for this.
Oh, that's not great. Insight is... Oh, that's 8.
Okay. With your 8, we'll say that you recognize the man, or we'll call him a man, I guess. He's a barrier. You know him as Gedrimak. You know that he deals in goods. You're not quite sure how legal his actions are. That's the most you know about him.
Okay. He's cool. All right.
I see a lot of representation here of the inner workings of the city and the well-oiled machine that it is.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the Doom Guards are out here kind of piques my interest. They usually don't get involved in day-to-day stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're not incorrect.
Okay. So that's weird. I think I'm going to... Yep, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take out a cricket leg out of my component pouch,
Okay.
and then whisper something into it, and I will be casting the jump spell.
Ooh, okay.
And then I'm going to start parkouring all along the tops until I can get to a position that's somewhere quietly, shortly above some of the Doom Guard.
Okay.
Do I see that?
You rolled what, like a... Well, kind of hard to be stealthy when you're jumping from building to building, I would assume, but...
Well, not necessarily, because you can use parts that you know that are blocking the way of the line of sight of the people that are down there.
Fair enough.
I
But she
am
is
on
on
a
another
building,
building.
though, and
We'll go ahead and make another stealth check for you in this instance, and then we'll have it opposed with a perception there.
An 18.
18.
I did not do well. You definitely... I don't see you.
shot.
It's fine. I'm not even
Ghost.
looking at that perception. There's no way.
Okay, so you managed to make your way a little bit closer to the scene.
If I can sneak up to the back of the Doom Guards there without freaking them out specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got a rope and a grappling hook, so I'll just like drop down quietly back there
Okay.
and be like, Psst.
Okay. We'll go back to. We'll actually make this a scene with Arphef and. I wish I had an easier way to say your name, Kahareth. Kahareth. Kahareth, you do see this dwarf, like they're getting a little bit closer talking, and then you just see him put his hands up and start walking towards one of the alleys. And you see one of these Doom Guards actually turn in the direction of Arphef and begin to walk as if triggered by this. And technically, Casey, you're going to see that as well, and you too, Tabitha.
And I would recognize that Arphef is fresh off the boat, as it were.
Probably just from his demeanor. He's not doing well to mingle himself in with the crowds, per se. Just kind of stands out like a sore thumb.
For sure.
How far away would I be from both the Kahareth and from Arphef?
You are probably about 40 feet from Arphef, and about 20 feet to the north of him would be the Doom Guard, who's sort of making his way towards him. I'm sorry. And another about 10 feet behind them is the main contingent.
All right, I will tap Gil on the shoulder. Say, you just keep your eyes open. You watch over there. I'm gonna go check on see what's going on over there. Indicating
he's sort of like half lingered. You sort of wake him up a little bit as you poke him. Yeah, sure, no problem.
And then as I start walking, I will use my mind link.
Okay.
And just send a message to Arphef and say, listen, don't be alarmed that you got someone following you. It's all right, though. I'm following him. So just keep going where you're going, man. If anything happens, I'll help you out. And you don't know whether or not you can, but if you were to respond, you'd have the ability to respond.
Arphef gives like a little like jump and then tries to quickly act as though nothing happened, clearly failing in the process. And begins to try to look around as he walks forward. He doesn't turn his head fully back, but he's just kind of trying to glaze out at the sides as he keeps walking forward towards that corner.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception. We'll give you with advantage since you do know that you're looking out for somebody who is following you. With a 7.
It's a 17 with advantage because I don't have my modifiers in.
Oh, okay.
I apologize.
So no problem. Arphef, you see almost directly behind you. You're not familiar with the factions, so you can't immediately like identify who this person is affiliated with. But this figure in this piecemeal armor almost, and his head's mostly cloaked in this helmet with this. It looks like almost teeth towards the middle of it. You see him who seems to have his eyes set upon you. You don't turn all the way to make it known that you've been alerted to his presence. But you also see, I don't know if did we ever explain who your character looks like, Karl?
Nope.
I don't think we did.
I was the only one who gave a description of any sort, and mine was vague too, but she's kind of hooded right now, so we're gonna keep that mystery.
Kahareth is very human looking, tan, dusky skin, but with red hair, blue eyes. Full scale armor, shield, sword, sheathed. He has a big identifying sigil on his chest, indicating that he is a member of the Harmonium, which is the de facto guard of the city.
Okay, so Arphef, you see those two figures coming closer to you. Do you keep walking as you're doing this, or do you sort of stop? Or
I would continue probably another 30 feet or so until I'm kind of in that alleyway a little ways before kind of turning around, as I was just going to observe from this point of view now instead.
okay, so Arphef, you continue watching these two figures draw closer to you. Tabitha, what are you going to be doing?
So, I also noticed that there's a lot of factions here today that normally wouldn't be. I also noticed that there were some people taking interest elsewhere. So I'm going to kind of sneak around on the roofs to get a better vantage point of what's going on there, while trying to keep everything else in view-ish.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and give me a stealth, if you don't mind.
D20s. Oh, that was a lot better. Okay. 24.
24, excellent. Sort of meld with the shadows and the substructures of these buildings and make your way stealthily across. Are you trying to get closer to the scene, to any particular character, or?
Just to see what's going on. Right now it's more curiosity on, because there's obviously something here. Most of the attention is on the stage, but I know that sometimes, important things happen near other important things, and I'm a bard. I want to see what's going on. I need to know what the story is. So I'm going to take that as a cue that this is probably something important, because I see someone from two different factions going away and following someone who's obviously a stranger here.
Yes.
So there's something going down. I'm curious as to what it is, but I also know that there's definitely something happening in the square too.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
Trying to kind of keep both together.
Yeah, so you're watching this dwarven figure he's sort of mingles with the crowd because he's not quite as tall as some of the people around him. But you definitely see this Doom Guard figure trailing behind him, and not too far from them, this member of the Harmonium who's going towards him. I can't remember. Do you two actually know each other? I think you do. Do you not?
I do.
So you do recognize Kahareth trailing this figure as well.
Yes. That's another reason why I'm interested, because it's like, oh, something's happening here. What's going on?
Right. Okay, so Casey, you've dropped down behind these Doom Guards and you go. Is that correct?
Yeah. Hey.
So you see the two of them in the back sort of turn and look over their shoulder.
The fuck?
That's exactly what I'm thinking right now.
Do we need to be alarmed? Do I need to go get my mates?
He sort of turns and looks in the direction of the Harmonium off to one side. Not quite sure what they're doing here.
What is anybody? What are you doing here?
Executing this dumb book.
But they don't. That's not usually. Isn't that like somebody else's job usually?
He sort of shrugs.
Is the world about to end?
We've got our orders. You know how it goes.
I guess. Okay, so.
Some governor somewhere accused this man of prying into things. I don't know. We've just...
So he's just pulling rank or something.
Well, whenever a governor's involved, you know it's never going to be any good.
Uh-huh. All right. You mind if I stand here?
Knock yourself out. Okay. We got 5 people here. Aras, why don't you go ahead and roll me a d12?
Ooh. I never get to roll those. Alright. 9.
9. This gentleman has 9 minutes to live. Okay. So
I'm glad I rolled higher.
right.
At least for his sake.
Okay, Arphef, you've made your way out of the crowd into an alley and have turned, and you still see these 2 people following you. You know someone has spoken to you. Which one? Maybe it wasn't either one of them. Not quite sure. But they definitely have notice of you, and they are coming in your direction.
I'm gonna glance around. Are there any doorways, or I'm just gonna try to get the scene around and see if there's any doorways or places that I could hide if I needed to, should the need arise.
Yeah, there's a couple of doors down behind you in this alleyway. Most of these buildings are deserted, it seems. But being in the hive, you know that there are probably squatters inside them at some point. I mean, maybe not during the day so much, but at night there's most definitely is. Of course, large mounds of refuse that just sort of pile across the sides of the streets. You're small enough; you could definitely fit into one of them if you dug yourself into it.
Not willing to go that length at the moment. Instead, what I'll try to do is find some kind of a box or a crate or something, a couple feet tall off the ground, and just to the best as I can, just hop up and kind of sit there as nonchalantly as possible. Probably not pulling it off very well. But we'll try to act like I'm just staying off to the side.
Okay. Sure, we can find you one of those. And you're not really trying to hide per se. You're just
Acting casual.
your
as best
normal
I can.
your normal figure and just popping a squat somewhere. So Kahareth, you see this dwarf just sort of walks down the alleyway, sits down on a box, sort of kicking his legs off the side of it. Very casual. Tabitha, you would see this as well. And let's see, who is closer to him at this point? Kahareth, you are slightly ahead of this Doom Guard at this point, just from the angle that you took.
How tall is this building?
It's probably 20 feet.
Okay.
Well, my understanding is I'm here to make sure that the peace is kept.
Right.
So I feel like the Doom Guard is likely up to no good, but I can't very well, minority report him. I can't arrest him for future crimes. So I have to wait for him to do something wrong before I can do anything.
Right.
So while I'm waiting for that to happen, I'll send a message to the Kahareth. Did I say that right? The Kahareth?
Bahareth?
The barrier.
The barrier.
Barrier. What's a Kahareth? I don't know. Barrier.
It's your name with a B, I believe.
Right. That's exactly right. The barrier. I'll say.
Okay.
Don't be alarmed.
Don't
checking in.
Don't be alarmed. They're gonna fucking hang me. What's not to be alarmed about?
Is he saying that out loud or?
He is.
Okay. I said, don't be alarmed. What were you talking to that dwarf about?
Who are you? He's sort of like scanning the crowd, looking everywhere.
And why are they hanging you?
Listen, Cut, I'd love to have this conversation, but I'd love to have it somewhere else than where I'm having it right now. Look, all I can tell you is I didn't do what they said I did. And if you get me out of here, I'll gladly pay you anything at this point. Just get me the fuck out of here.
Again, in my mind, to him,
Mm-hmm.
say, who is it that has you apprehended?
Oh, these doom god fucks came in, spouting off shit. Just dragged me here. Was having a nice breakfast at the inn earlier, and all of a sudden get ranged up out of my chair, drug here, tied up, and a noose around my neck. I don't even really know why I'm here.
Well, thank you very much. So with that information, I'll flag down the Doom Guard who I was following.
Okay.
Say, hey man,
It's-
hey man.
He like stops, and of course you turn and lift your hand. Puts his hand towards his sheath.
Say, whoa, whoa, whoa. No need for that.
So what do you want exactly?
I'll just. What's up with this guy that you're gonna hang? What did he do?
He was committing a crime. Isn't that enough for us to have a reason to hang him?
Absolutely. Yeah. Crimes are, you punish them. That makes sense.
He's like, yeah, exactly.
But what crime was it?
He sold some secrets he shouldn't have. His bone box was flapping a bit too much.
Is talking a crime?
The
That doesn't
things,
sound right, man.
the things he was talking about definitely were. Listen, I got orders from the governors, okay? They want to see this man hang. He's going to hang.
Oh yeah, that makes all the sense. Just let me see those orders.
I don't have to show you anything. Now, if you don't get out of my way, I'm going to show you the back of my sword. So I slap you across the ass as you run out of here.
So, as someone who has been here for a while,
Mm-hmm.
do I understand that he doesn't have to show me anything, or do I feel like he should show me something?
You feel like he should, but you know that there's sort of a tension between your two factions as it is. Things happen between the two factions. Usually end up in some sort of bloody contest. By all rights, they should show you something since you are, like you said, the de facto sort of police around here. But it's rare that there's any sort of confrontations that don't end bloodily.
Listen, friend, I don't want any trouble.
Well, good, hardhead, then get the hell out of my way.
Be on your way.
Sort of slowly makes his way towards you. And as you come to his side, he watches. And begins to walk on towards where the dwarf's at.
I assume that I see all this given the proximity. Can I hear this conversation as well, or?
I would say so, yeah. I'm not going to make you roll a perception for this one. They weren't trying to be very hushed about it.
Very good. I would definitely be hearing him, but I would try to look the other way the whole way. The whole
Okay.
time.
Excellent, excellent. So Arphef, you have this this large, imposing character who's walking towards your direction. The other man who was directly behind you is sort of giving him leeway past. And Tabitha, you see that as well. I'd say really that Casey, you would probably see that as well if you are getting any closer to the scene.
I have a very important question.
Okay.
Are they selling snacks at this event?
Sure. Why not?
Take 2 bags of peanuts.
Okay. 2 bags of abyssal peanuts coming your way.
Best kind. So spicy.
So you just are sort of watching the scene.
I was watching the scene, but as the guy starts approaching this poor dwarf, I kind of position myself, not exactly over him, but like nearby.
Okay.
Just because I don't like people coming in and hitting on people for no reason.
Okay. Sorry, I was looking for music.
And then I continue to watch and wait, and if it looks like this guy's about to get killed, I'll probably drop down and help him.
Sure. Okay. Kahareth, are you doing anything else? Just sort of watching, or?
Well, yeah. If he walks on by, I will again send a message to the barrier.
Okay.
Friend, the Doom Guard said that you were selling secrets. What do you know about that, man?
Look, I don't deal in secrets. I deal in goods. I'm an honest man.
I've heard lots of honest men in jail.
Have you heard the governor's being jealous of people who get a little bit too rich?
Does this barrier look well heeled and well dressed?
He's definitely not lower class. He's definitely not. Doesn't look like he belongs in the hive per se. Definitely nothing like nobility by any stretch of the imagination. Doesn't live like within the lady's ward by any chance, but doesn't look like he's terribly off. And it's not unheard of for factions to use whatever leverage they have to take down their enemies, especially with the governors. They're technically the judicial part of this city, and they will leverage that power any way they can to better themselves.
So, did you have a trial?
No, I had no trial. I was just drug out of the inn this morning.
Well, I think maybe your best bet, friend, is just to shout. Demand a trial. What do you got to lose?
He looks up, sort of, fuck. Hey! Hey, I didn't get no damn trial here. I demand justice. The crowd begins to boo. Begins to throw things at the barrier's direction. All sort of scraps and dirty cloth or anything else they can get a hold of. Like, no, we want lying! We want lying, yeah!
Yeah!
Seems to silence him pretty quickly. Arphef. This large figure has found its way towards you. He sort of looks like he's starting to walk past you, then slightly pivots on his foot and looks down upon you. Hey, you dwarf. Officer.
Yeah. Good morning, officer. Yes.
Officer, you're definitely not from around here, are you? Sort of taps the sigil on his chest plate.
No, not by a long shot.
So, is that your friend up there hanging? Seemed awful chummy to me.
The goat man? Never seen him before today. Haven't even been in the town more than 2 or 3 days.
That last part I definitely believe, but you guys seem to have quite the intimate conversation there.
Nah, it was just the pleading cries of a doomed man, I'm afraid.
He sort of turns and looks back at you, Kahareth. It looks like
Friendly.
we might have someone else involved in this scheme. Don't suppose you want to arrest him, do you? Bring him in for questioning.
He's talking to me
Yeah.
about Arphef.
Yeah.
My friend, that sounds like a great idea. I'll take him in, and I'll take the other fellow too. We'll take them both. We'll put them in separate rooms. We'll get to the bottom of this. That's good thinking. You are a smart man. And I go start walking towards the barrier as if I'm going to bring him into my custody.
Okay.
I've got a quick question as he's doing that.
Sure.
Does the voice that he says out loud sound just like what I heard in my head? So I can tell at this point that this is the guy that whispered to me at the beginning. Does that make sense? So like
I would
yeah,
say
I would say
so.
so.
I would say
Yeah.
so.
Got it. Then seeing what he's doing, I would try to play along and say, please, I do process all the way, guys. You know, I don't want to be accused of anything, so let's take this thing forward.
Okay. So do you get up? Do you stay there, or?
No. I hop up, and in fact, I have manacles. And I go and I offer the manacles.
Here you go.
over to Kahareth. And say, please, I'm new here. I know nothing of the laws and customs. So by all means, do what you must, please.
So I'll start walking back towards to get the manacles, and I'll shout out to Lou and Gil.
Okay.
Friends, our brothers in the Doom Guard think that we should bring these folks in for questioning. So you go ahead and grab that fella there. I'm gonna grab this fella here, and we're gonna bring him back to the barracks. We're gonna ask him some questions.
Okay, so your two buddies sort of turn to look at each other confused, and the Doom Guard actually make the same. Like, what? And their eyes are sort of wider. And
It's his idea. I think it's a great idea. This guy's a really a cut above. He's a really smart fella, and I really appreciate his initiative that he's taken here. So let's get them all together, back to the barracks, and we'll get to the bottom of it. Great idea.
Okay, so your two begin to move towards the gallows, sort of pushing their way gingerly through the crowd. The Doom Guard, on the other hand, are shoving people out of their way to intercede. Ilya, you definitely see this happen. They look panicked as they move towards the gallows.
Okay, go on. I'm beating off all of this.
I don't have any abyssal peanuts, but I am loving the show.
Okay. So you guys are just going to probably sort of meet in the middle here. The Doom Guard behind you, Kahareth, starts to push his way past the two of you, if you allow it. So I didn't say nothing about taking him in. If anything, we should have two hangings today.
What a twist.
You see some of the onlookers like, oh, he said two hangings, he did. Your two buddies are sort of looking at you, Kahareth, like, What do we do? And the barrier's sort of looking back between the two parties.
So I will. Am I able to like be in a protective position of Arphef to, you know, between the Doomguard and Arphef?
Sure, we can do that.
Apologies. I really thought that you were interested in getting to the bottom of whatever this here conspiracy is.
He says, the easiest way to get to the bottom of it is just to clear it all together, don't you think?
Forgive me for my ignorance, but it seems like if we were to hang all the conspirators, we wouldn't get any more answers out of them. In my humble opinion, if we were to, you know, ask them some questions real nice like, back at the barracks, we have facilities set up for this type of thing. Just bring them back. We'll find out exactly who told who what.
Says, listen, hothead, if you want to take this little scrawny thing with you and ask him all the questions you want, by all means, please do so. But that thing up there, he's hanging today. Unless there's something you wish to do about that. And I really want you to do something about that.
So I will see if I can usher Arphef towards my harmonium friends. And I will very sternly and, you know, set my jaw. Listen, I don't want to be curt with you, friend, but I feel like if this man is guilty of telling something he shouldn't have, it's important that we find out who he told that to. So I'm gonna take him, because that's the right thing to do.
He goes, how about you have what's left of him? He goes like this, and the executioner pulls a lever, and you see the barrier drop below, hanging there, just swinging back and forth, not dead. Doesn't seem like the fall's broken his neck, but he's definitely quickly suffocating.
Can I try to shoot something to break the rope?
Sure. Anybody else want to try anything?
Do I see any familiar faces hanging out from my own neck of the woods, which is local here, and their reactions towards everything that's going on?
Not particularly in this area. Just seems to be overflowing with some denizens from the hive who are just really excited to see somebody hang.
Yeah, this is like far be it for me to interrupt the goings-ons of the city, man.
There's a part of me that wants to throw a knife, but at the same time, I don't. Do not need that. No, I'm not going to borrow a shovel.
So, I mentioned I handed the manacles over to Kahareth, but I did not give him the key. So I kept that palmed, and I will attempt to just unlock that.
Okay.
That set of manacles if I can. If I
Okay.
can get off a guiding bolt and say that we did that during the commotion, then I would. If I can't, then no harm, no foul.
At what point would you begin to work at the manacles?
I probably, as he was approaching the stage, would have been about the time that I would have, you know, as attention had gone towards him, I would have moved that that key into position. So.
Okay, so go ahead and make me. I assume I will make a sleight of hand in this case. what you got there?
16 total.
16. Okay, so you managed to pop the lock, at least to get one of your hands free. And so we'll have the two of you. I guess you're going to make some sort of attack against this rope. So go ahead and give me some rolls.
So how far is the rope, or how tall is the rope? You know, is it something that I can reach, or will I need to do something ranged?
You're about 10 feet from it. You could make a dash towards it and attack it if you wanted to, I guess, per se. I'm going to say 15 feet of movement for you, because we'll consider the crowd rough terrain. So you can definitely you can get there in this round and make an attack against it if you'd like to. I guess honestly, Arphef, the same for you if you wanted to. For sure, movement's probably a little bit slower, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 25 as a base.
25. You could still make it there though. Yeah.
Got it. I rolled for a guiding bolt and got a 17, and I think the character would commit to that movement or that action.
Okay, a 17.
Yep.
Go ahead and roll me some damage.
Uh, 14 total.
Okay. Not many hit points a rope has per se, but I'm assuming it probably isn't 14. Kahareth, you're leaping towards this direction of this barrier, and you see this flash of light. What does your guiding bolt look like, Arphef?
So how I've been envisioning it for this character is a blinding a radiant light, and it's about this big, and within it is this miniature war axe that is spinning inside of this light as it goes forward.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Okay. So over your shoulder, you see this light, and this miniature war axe come spiraling right over your shoulder and snap this rope, and you see the barrier fall. I don't know what reaction you want to have to that exactly.
How far is the fall?
It's probably another 5 feet. It's not far.
Okay. I will add nothing here then.
All right. Well, I was lunging and unsheathing my sword to hack at the rope.
Okay.
But my job was done. So I tried to cushion the blow of the falling barrier.
Okay.
And see if I can help him loosen the binds around his neck.
Okay. So pure chaos just seems to erupt all of a sudden. The crowd just explodes in boos and leers. The Doom Guard immediately begin to draw weapons. Your two friends also begin to draw weapons, seeing this reaction. Tabitha, you look like you want to say something.
I was gonna let you finish your description, but this is where Tabitha gets kind of a sly grin on her face, and she picks the 3 closest opponents to her friend Kay.
Okay.
And she casts Bane on them, whispers a few words under her breath, and oh wait, are they within 30 feet?
If you're back there in the alley, probably not.
I would have moved up as
you
far
would have
as
moved
I could
up
on the ridge line, kind of following what was going on.
I would say they're probably honestly just outside of your range.
Okay. Then I will start moving down carefully,
Okay.
still trying to be stealthy.
Okay.
I will not cast this yet.
Ilya, do anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna be getting back up on the roof actually.
Getting
Grizzly.
back on the roof. Okay.
She's also after she gets back up there, if she does get back up there, she's gonna be pulling a rope out of her pack.
Okay. I guess I have to roll some initiatives here. Okay. Everybody rolled?
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody got 20 or better?
I got a dirty 20.
Got a dirty 20. So that will take us to 15 to 20. Nobody? Okay. So it'll take us 10 to 15.
I would like it to be known this is the best initiative I've rolled literally all year.
What'd you get, Arphef?
A 10, exactly.
10? Okay. So what did the rest of you get?
6.
6?
I got an 8, which is appropriate because I'm kind of
And Karl with the big 6. Okay, so technically, it looks like Tabitha's going to be the first to react to this scene. You are on top of the building, getting ready to climb down.
I'm going to climb down through one of the alleyways.
Okay.
And get a little bit closer.
Okay.
If I am within range of,
You're about 30
K.
feet away now from them.
I keep wanting to try to pronounce Kahareth. That's
Yeah,
I can't.
in the same way.
You're K. Tabitha just calls you K. I try to get within his opponents just because I like seeing him fight because it's funny. she gets a kick out of it. So she's going to get down there and cast Bane, and then just kind of stick to the shadows. Not trying to get
Okay.
in the middle.
Did they get any sort of save for Bane? I do not remember.
It is a charisma save.
Charisma save. Their
Yeah.
best save. Does a 15 pass? I rolled a 3 and a 5 besides it. I'm pretty sure they fail, so.
Oh, it's a 14.
14? Okay, so 2 of them have failed. So 2 of them have Bane upon them. One of them being the one that had approached Arphef.
Perfect.
And you've
That sounds great.
done your
He
movement.
struck me as a dick. So, yeah.
Next, you have any bonus actions you'd like to take?
Gotta double check. Do I have bonus action to hide? Do I have that yet? Yes, I do.
Oh.
I will hide.
Okay, roll me a stealth then.
Ah, natural 20.
Jesus.
I like this little guy. Oh, that was so cute.
Nice touch. Nice touch.
Okay. So that will bring us to the Doom Guard's turn. We have one who's going to go after you, Kahareth, and rolls a 7. One goes after one of your buddies. Rolls a 18. I'm going to assume that will probably hit. And does a whole 3 points of damage. So one of these Doom Guards draws like this scimitar with serrated edges and just draws his hand back, and you see the spray of blood go across the crowd. And people begin to freak out as this crimson gore covers their faces and begin to flee back away from the scene.
Don't forget minus 1d4 for any Bane people.
Gotcha. This other one rolled a 4 minus 4. He rolled a 0 to attack.
Yes.
So he misses. And that will bring us to Mr. Arphef.
Excellent. I apologize. Set the scene. How close are the Doom Guards to me?
So they all approached towards your all's direction. I should say 2 of them approached Kahareth, and one of them stayed back with the other 2 Harmonium. So they're roughly really close to you. The one's really close to you. The other 2 are about 10 feet away from you, engaged with Kahareth.
Perfect. That one that was closest to me, I'm going to pull out my war axe,
Okay.
two-handed. Sorry, my battle axe two-handed, and make an attack on that Doomsguard.
Okay.
And that would be an 11 total.
11 is not going to hit.
So as I pull out this two-handed axe, and I've still got the manacle on a hand, I'll say that the other loose manacle kind of wrapped itself around the handle, and I just kind of pull my swing up short,
Okay.
hitting him. And that would be. Wait, I had one other idea. That'll be my turn.
Okay. That will be Ilya's turn.
Climb that rope! I'm gonna go up to the ceiling.
Okay. I don't think I'll make you roll to climb a rope if that's going to be your movement, so.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Anything else while you're up there?
I want to say, let's see, everybody's wrapped in glorious chaos right now. But is anyone paying attention to the barrier?
They said there was a couple of the Doomguard went towards where Kahareth and the barrier are at, so definitely there was a couple people who are engaged with that.
Okay. But the barrier probably, I don't know, is he getting engaged with the fighting himself? Or is he kind of like taking a step back in an attempt to gird his loins?
He just got cut free, I believe, by Kahareth, so he has no weapons on him, so he's definitely stepping back from this scene.
Okay. So then I will use my action to, if I can do it without catching the Doomguard specifically, their attention, because I don't want to piss them off. I want to shoot an arrow behind him to catch his attention and tell him where I'm at.
Okay. It's going to make me an attack roll.
It's an 18.
18. Okay. So you let loose this arrow. Probably near his head or something like that till he gets attention, or...
Right next to his left hoof, where he
Okay.
steps back and he like almost touches it.
So he's taking a step back, and this arrow fires at his ground just where his foot might have been. And he
There's
sort
a
of...
nice angle that points right up. Like,
So conveniently
yeah.
points up in your direction. He sort of looks up to where the arrows come from. And he nods. Is there anything else for your turn?
Don't think I can do anything else.
Okay. Kahareth, it's your turn.
So I, with my sword drawn, I'll look at the barrier, and I'll say, "You're gonna want to stay out of this, but you don't want to run too far. Why don't you hoof it on over to my friends over there? They'll keep you safe." And then I will, with my bonus action,
Okay.
I will use, I will
Oh.
clench my sword, and I didn't want to do this, but I will use Hexblade's curse on the jerk who instigated this.
Okay.
And then I will attack him.
Excellent. Go for it. Oh, shit.
That's a 27 nat 20.
Yeah, it hits.
So that's just 14 slashing damage.
Okay. Ow. Okay. Just go ahead and tell me how you want to end this guy's life.
So I really didn't expect that to happen that swiftly.
I didn't either.
So I will. So my sword was ready to slice the barrier down. So instead, I look back and I just lunge straight forward and the sword just keeps going, almost like it has its own will, and just keeps going and just plunges. It somehow finds a seam in the armor to get right through in all the soft bits. Just keeps going through and through and through.
Right. So the point of your blade erupts on the backside of this piecemeal armor, and just the droplets of blood begin to spatter the ground. He sort of convulses, and his death rattles against your blade. If you wish to withdraw your sword, and he would promptly hit the ground with a very loud thud.
I try with great effort to pull the sword out.
There you go. Anything else for your turn? You're free to move, I suppose, if you want to now.
So
Well, there's one more on you, isn't there? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I will. I'm surprised at how deadly that blow was, but I'm gonna hide it, and I'm gonna look at the other one, and I'll just raise an eyebrow. Like that.
Okay. So, that'll be the end of your turn. It's the warrior's turn, who chooses to disengage and begins running off towards your direction. So, Kahareth, you see this. He's just like, fuck this, and just begins to take off. Moving probably about 15 feet away from you all, having a hard time getting through the crowd. And that will bring us to your two buddies' turn. One nat 20s. Because of course he does. Does 8 points of damage. And the other one, nat 20s. Does 8 points of damage. Jesus, why can't I roll nat 20s against you guys? That will be the end of the turn. It'll be back up to Tabitha's turn.
Alrighty. Well, I still have Bane going. I'm going to do my best to kind of sneak up behind the other guy facing my friend Kay. And I'm going to do my best to try to take the butt of my knife and knock him out.
Okay. Go ahead.
That's the goal.
It's a goal.
That's the goal. So 14 5 is 19 to hit.
19 will hit.
Okay. And it is sneak attack, isn't it?
Yeah, Kahareth is within 5 feet of him, so.
How much is sneak attack right now? I think it's just 1. Yeah. Okay, it's been doing good for me. Ooh. 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11 damage.
11 damage. Nice. So Kahareth, you finally draw that sword out of the body and see a familiar figure sort of rush up behind the other Doomguard that you're engaged with. And you just see her take this dagger and smack him in the back of the head. And you just see the whites of his eyes roll back. Falling forward and see like a little bit of blood dribbling out the back of his skull.
From under a dark cowl hood, you see bright green eyes and a big ol' smile with blonde ringlets. Or not ringlets. She's just got messy blonde hair. She looks up to you and says, "Well, talking isn't always the best, but sometimes you want to use this end." And then I would like to use my bonus action to hide back in the shadows.
Okay. Go for it.
Please. Alright. Oh, hi, buddy. Oh, I'm in the middle of something. Hold on. Oh, that's good. Oh gosh, these leggy hand dice are really good. A 7. That's 21.
Jeez. Okay. Yeah.
I do have expertise, so
So it's like you see Tabitha for an instant, and then something walks like right in front of her, and then all of a sudden you don't see her anymore.
it's like you blink and
Yeah,
she's gone.
she's gone. That would bring us back to the remaining 2 Doom Guards' turn, who both choose to disengage and begin fleeing. So they're moving 30 feet away from the scene, or 15 feet away from the scene, I should say. The crowd seems to be in a roar of... it's a mix of excitement from what's going on before them, and some of them are panicking and running away from the scene, so there's people crossing back and forth everywhere. Let's see, that's going to bring us actually to Arphef.
So the one that was with me, he's disengaged.
Yes, he's fleeing away.
Arphef is going to kind of turn around in the crowd and see and look for Kahareth, whom he had been conversing with earlier, and he's not going to catch these guys, and he knows it. He's far too slow for that. Well, actually, did they move 30 feet or did they move half that distance because of the terrain? I'm
going to say half that distance because, like I said, it's kind of hard to move through the crowd as it is.
So we got one dead, one's unconscious, and the other one's fleeing, or are they both fleeing?
You have, what is it, 2 that... One's unconscious, one's dead, and the one that was engaged with you guys is fleeing. I'm sorry, I had my numbers mixed up.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So if he's only gone 15 feet, I'm gonna pursue him. If I go 12.5 feet, am I still within distance with a battle axe?
5 feet. You're gonna be like 5 feet away from him at this point, I believe. Just short of getting to him.
Then I'm going to cast Spiritual Weapon, and a very large battle axe appears on the other side of him.
Okay.
Deep dwarven runes all across it. And I am going to shout for him to halt where he's at. The axe is still going to attack, but I'm going to say that as part of my turn.
You say the axe is still going to attack?
Yes, it is. Yeah. That's kind of a warning shot. Like, this is, if you continue. And that's a nat 1. I don't know how you play that here.
Oh. So...
it's the Spiritual Weapon officially is the one that nat 1s.
Right. I'm not going to say anything terrible happens in this case. It begins to come down towards him, and he sort of sidesteps it, being quite aware of what's going on around him. So I'm not going to cause any catastrophic damage to anybody around him.
Perfect. Arphef is going to give out a bit of a frustrated grunt, and say something to the effects of clang it and don't abandon me here. And that'll be his turn.
Okay. That will bring us to Ilya. And Ilya, go ahead and make me a perception check from where you're at.
A measly 14.
14 is great. So you've shot this arrow down. You see that the barrier has taken notice of you and has begun running in your direction. You look back down the main thoroughfare that everybody's been funneled into, and you see a large contingent of people beginning to move towards it. Doesn't take much for you to figure out that it looks like more Doom Guard factionaries have begun to make their way towards the scene.
Oh shit! Hurry up! There's not much that I can do with him still down there. I'm not going down there to get him. That's stupid. So just gonna leave the rope there and hope he gets here in time. If he does get up here, is he close enough to get here within 6 seconds?
Probably next round he would be.
Alright. So not this one, next one. Alright. Then yeah, I guess I'll hide.
Okay. Give me that stealth.
Ooh, that's an 8.
An 8?
Not too worried about it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that will bring us back to Kahareth.
I'm going to pursue the barrier.
Okay.
So if I can see him,
Mhm.
I will run towards him.
Oh yeah.
And so I will do that. And can I tell? Because I instructed him to run towards my harmonium colleagues, who are now don't have a job right now.
Right.
Is he doing that, or is he doing something else?
He seems to be running actually north. So not towards your two buddies there who are more mingled in with the crowd.
Okay. So I'll use my mind link with him and friend. You're in danger if you stay on these streets. You're going to want to make your way to my friends in the armor like mine. The one who caught you when you fell. If you have something to say, you can go ahead and say it to me now.
Okay. Anything else for your turn?
And I'll point, I'll direct my harmonium friends to try to intercept this fellow as well.
Okay. So that will bring us to the barrier's turn, who chooses not to follow the direction that you said, and begins to keep going in that direction. I think you said there was a rope that's just still hanging from where you're at, correct? So you do see him heading towards a building where there's a long rope leading up to the top of it. And he calls back to you. Said, "Mate, I really appreciate it, but just follow me and we will take care of all this, I promise you." So he's fleeing away from you. You have any reaction to this? Like, technically you could attack him if you wished, but...
No.
Okay. So he's going to use a full round action to move. So that will get him to the rope. And you see him look up at it and look down at his hooves and then back up to it again. And he's just going...
Just grab onto it.
He just grabs onto it. It's like, there's no fucking way I'm going to make it up this thing. So that'll be the end of his turn. And I guess technically we're going to be out of initiative for the time being. Well, not really. Are you going to let him go, Arphef? Or... It really is whether you guys to choose to pursue this further. So...
Do I notice all of the goings-ons of the rest of the group?
Yeah, it's...
Yeah. Got it. If there's a clear path to escape, Arphef will let this guy... He'll keep the spiritual weapon hounding that guy, and then he himself will begin to make his way.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's just sort of harassing him for the time being.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so... Let's see. I know Casey had a terrible stealth roll there. Let me turn
Ilya,
this...
it's Ilya. Casey's not here right now.
Sorry about that. We'll just turn that off because it's too much of a distraction right
and
now.
sorry, one last thing. As
Yes.
I see that we're going with the rope, I cast guidance on myself.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Tabitha, are you doing anything at this point? Following? Staying hidden?
I was going to essentially climb back up to a rooftop and kind of figure out where everybody's going and what's going on.
Okay.
Seeing where the Gedramar was running towards, if I did see it,
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of make my way stealthily
Okay.
that way.
So really the scene we see before us is we see Tabitha running up beside the building. We see Ilya, who's looking over the edge, telling Barrier to climb the damn rope already. And I'm sure that Kahareth and the Barrier sort of meet at that point. Arphef, are you joining your new companion here or just taking off wherever?
No. If I can see them all going towards that same corner of the building with the rope, I would follow. I might
Okay.
get there slower at 25 feet, but I'd be heading that way.
Okay. So I guess really the question is whether Kahareth will allow this Barrier to continue on this path or try to intercede or follow.
Come with me if you want to live.
Come with me if you want to leave.
Kahareth isn't trying to do a jailbreak here. If this guy is a criminal or suspected of crimes, he wants to either determine what those are or clear of those crimes. So he would try to apprehend this fellow if he can.
Okay. Tabitha, you also are going to see this contingent of Doomguard, a rather large one, who is starting to make its way down the thoroughfare in your all's direction from your vantage point.
Does it appear that they know where he's going or he is?
It seems that they've just been alerted that there's a large commotion and they are descending upon it.
Okay. I will just keep an eye.
Okay. So the barrier turns to you, Kahareth. He's like, listen, mate, I'll answer any questions, anything. I'm not going to get a fair trial here. Do you understand that?
I understand your concern. Just come with me, and I'll keep you safe.
How about you come with me and keep me safe? And we'll go somewhere where we can talk privately.
That's a great idea.
That wouldn't look good for me if you were, in fact, a criminal.
He's like, fuck. He just starts to try to climb.
Are we still in initiative?
Depends on what Kahareth's reaction is to this.
I would try to grab him.
Okay, and I suppose that we are. I guess we'll just go down the regular initiative that we had before instead of rolling new ones, because that would just seem kind of counterproductive. So we're going to start with Tabitha. So you see,
just continuing down.
start
to
making
get to
your
the
way
area.
across. You would see, I would assume, probably would see Ilya at this point on the top of this building, looking down over this rope, probably coaxing, but not trying to, I guess, be too obvious about it. But
I got an 8.
definitely
so
definitely not being very
It's
cryptic
obvious
about it,
that
I
she's
suppose.
trying to be stealthy,
Right.
but she's failing. Okay. Yeah.
From your background, you would understand that.
Getting very
Yeah.
frustrated here.
Yeah, it's cool. I will continue around. Do I see from where I am an obvious place where they could be going? Like a hideout or anything like that?
I mean, not really.
Okay.
This is just a bunch of hovels. I mean, anywhere really is somewhere to hide at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, just gonna keep going around, stealthily doing it, so I don't want to like dash or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's essentially
It's
my turn.
okay. I guess Arphef. So you're seeing that Kahareth and this barrier are starting to clash. Not fight per se, but one's definitely trying to get away from the other at this point.
Have I made it to the base of the rope? Am I within a few feet of them, or how far am I?
I'd say you're just probably 5 feet away at this point.
Perfect. Do I see all those Doomsguards approaching at this point? Or...
Go ahead and make me a perception check. If you're looking around.
That is a 14.
A 14. Okay. Since the city of Sigil is sort of a torus, you sort of see the horizon's not flat, it kind of angles up at this rate. And you would think it'd probably take them probably a few minutes before they get here, but you definitely see a large group of somebody coming in your direction. Again, you're not really familiar with who's who around here, but well armed and definitely making their way in a regimental fashion towards the square.
And did I hear the conversation between Kahareth and the barrier about needing to be brought in for fair trials?
The barrier definitely wasn't trying to be quiet about it, but
got it. Then as I approach, assuming he hasn't got up too far, I take the free manacle that's not locked to my other wrist, and I attempt to latch it around one of his hind legs. If I feel like that's thick enough.
Yeah, it probably would be.
Okay, then yes, I would attempt. I don't know. Is it a check or?
Oh Lord.
Let me look at manacles in the player's handbook real quick.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It doesn't say anything about a check to lock them. Just that it would be a check to break them. Is what it
Okay.
says.
Just go ahead and give me a straight D20, and we'll make a Dex modifier on this.
That is a 2.
2.
Total.
Okay. Okay, so you reach out with these manacles and try to get it around it, and almost like a horse, he just kind of kicks it out of the way. Stings your hand a little bit, but you manage to hold on to the manacles.
As I do that, I say, please, clang it in. We'll find this justice here. And that is it. That's
Okay.
my turn.
I guess that will bring us up to Ilya.
Bunch of dumb sods! I'm going to wrap the rope around my forearm, hoist it over my shoulder, and enchant to myself, I know I'm strong, I know myself, I know I'm strong. And then I'm going to dig my heel in, and then I'm going to try to yank this goat man up the side of the building.
Okay, go ahead and make me an athletics check then.
You got it. It's a 14.
14. It's not bad. It's not bad. So, Kahareth, you begin to see that this barrier begins to rise. I guess go ahead and if you want to burn your reaction to try to grapple him, we'll make it for this case since it's not really an attack roll.
My athletics is a 21.
Jesus. Okay, so you're pulling, and you feel as he's starting to come, and then it just stops.
You're gonna kill him!
Like the weight is doubled upon this, and you dig your heels into it. And you begin to feel the boards begin to creak beneath your feet. Something that's definitely stopped you from pulling further. And Kahareth, you're sort of holding onto this bar. He's maybe like 4 feet at this point off the ground. Just shaking his legs, trying to free himself from your grasp. I suppose there's anything else you want to do.
I'm gonna keep going down this path until I can hear the clank of the armor of the Doom Guards.
Okay. I guess that will bring us to Kahareth.
So am I aware of the approaching Doom Guard?
Good. Make me a perception check if you decide to take a look around at what's going on.
10.
10. To 10's good enough, yeah. You definitely see a large contingent of well-armed and very militaristic-looking folks coming your direction.
All right, so I do a mind link to Gil.
Okay.
Say, all right, Gil, I need you and Lou to take the Doom Guard on a wild goose chase. I'll meet you back at where we meet back at.
Okay. We'll go with that. Okay, so they begin to take off toward down the thoroughfare.
Do I think that I will be able to escort this goat man through the streets? As geographically speaking, I expect that the hive is on one end, the hive and where I want to go are as far apart as they could possibly be.
Well, there is a headquarters for the Harmonium within the hive itself. If you think you're going to get there without being seen or something like that, not likely. Because everybody mingles in the hive, especially like the Cossatecs. They're huge in this area. So someone's going to definitely notice. But you could possibly make it there.
All right. So I'll pull down this goat man in his face and say, where are we going?
Okay. And that will bring us actually to his turn. So he looks down upon you with fearful eyes, sort of dangled between you holding on to him and yanking his leg, and with Elia pulling him up on the other side and sort of stretched between the two of you. He says, "We need to get to the butcher's block right now."
So I say, fine.
Just let go of him, or you're just going to drag him with you?
Do I know where the butcher's block is?
Yeah.
Would
It's
letting him
fairly
climb-
well known.
Would letting him climb be advantageous to that plan?
It really depends on how well you think that he could probably circumnavigate the rooftops of this area. Given his form, it's not likely. But there's a small chance that it might be more stealthy, just depending on how well fourth wall breaking he rolls.
My friends are gonna cause a distraction. Let's stick to the ground. I don't like our chances up there.
He sighs and lets go. And
She is woof.
yes, and Ilya, you begin to you just feel the weight suddenly drop off of you, and as you begin to push forward. I guess it's going to bring us back up to Tabitha. Any reaction?
I'm essentially just going to continue same course of action. I'm very interested in what's going on here. I'm going to follow it.
Okay.
Not trying to reveal myself to anybody at this point.
Okay. Arphef.
Hearing the discussion between the two of them, Arphef goes, "Well, lead on, but I gotta warn you, I'm wasted on cross country. We dwarves are natural sprinters and are very dangerous over short distances." And wait to follow their lead.
Okay. Excellent. So the three of you are on the ground, and you begin heading off to, let's essentially be the northwest. Ilya, are you going to, or what are you going to do?
I will keep my spells and roll up my rope and
Okay.
put it back in my pack.
Okay.
And why not, since I have an extra one, pull out another grasshopper leg,
Okay.
eat it, say a thing, and then cast jump on myself once again and stealthily follow them.
Okay. So, I have certain Tabitha, are you going to do the same, just sort of follow on the wrong rooftops? Gotta be a lot of stealth checks to see if you guys see each other or not. Okay, so with our scene, we have escaped the gallows area. The crowd's beginning to thin out, and Gil and Lou are doing their best that you know of, because you can't really see right now, to try to distract this Doom Guard patrol that's on its way to do what it does best. Put down people. And I think with that, we'll go ahead and take a short break if you all are good. So we will be back very shortly, like 5-10 minutes. Good?
Sounds good.
All right, guys. So we'll be back in one moment. so before break, we had Kahareth and Arphef and the barrier have begun to move down or northwest of here towards the street, him leading them on. And we have Ilya Hin and we have Tabitha on sort of opposite rooftops, just sort of like making their way down. Arphef and Kahareth, the barrier seems to like be making sort of a zigzag pattern, as if he's well aware of the denizens that stay in this area, as if he's trying to elude as much attention as possible. I don't know if you guys are going to go for this or not, but that's his intentions, and he will make that known as well.
I would take advantage of his zigzags to hopefully take a direct line and gain on his speed advantage of me.
Probably, yes.
Before we started booking it, I would have spared a glance up at the rope that was vanishing up the side of the building.
Okay.
And just think curiously. And then remember the fleeting image of Tabitha. And I'll put those two together and assume that Tabitha was trying to pull up the rope.
Right.
How did she get up there so quickly? Doesn't make any sense, but he's going to start booking it. And as we're running in this super heavy armor, clink. I'll send, so I can save oxygen. I'll send a message through my mind to Arphef and say, the name's Kahareth. What's your name, friend?
Arphef. Well met.
How'd you get mixed into this?
This story is longer than these streets, I fear. I know nothing of this city nor where we're headed.
Well, if you lose sight of that guy, just follow me.
Will do.
Okay. The two roof walkers, anything pertinent on the way there?
I want to see where they end up first, and then I might go off and do stuff.
Okay.
I'm just keeping an eye out for maybe anybody else following them in particular, since I have a really good vantage point. Anybody who looks determined.
Okay. You keep your eyes peeled. It does not seem that anyone has decided to follow after this. Most of the people who were there for the hanging seem to have dispersed, either in fear or just disappointment that they didn't get to watch a hanging today, and have either found their way back into their homes or whatever else that they end up doing here, begging, trying to sell cheap wares. Just the excitement has died down in that part, and you have followed them along. You two see the three of them on the street below begin to approach what you know as the Butcher's Block. It's a very well-known alehouse within the city itself, or should we say within the hive itself. They stop at one of the corners where the roads intersect, and the bar is sort of looking out, scanning to make sure that no one's watching them in particular, and then begins to hurriedly make his way towards the front entrance to this building.
I would follow. Yep, I would follow suit, taking the third position.
Okay.
I will make my way down to street level and casually go in there too. Definitely not trying to draw attention to myself.
Okay.
I'm going to double back and actually head back a little bit north where we were, specifically to a place called Quakes.
Okay.
Where a couple of my Chaos Attack friends are hanging out.
Okay. So, I assume that these other 4 characters go inside. You enter what's called the... I just literally told you the name, forgot it. The Butcher's Block. It's not a well-kept establishment. Behind the bar, actually, you see what appears to be an aged ogre who's sort of slamming drinks down to the patrons that are in it. These large, like, cracked tankards. Looks very frustrated and pissy about the job that he's doing. And the decor of it itself is very, what you would assume, ogreish, as there's heads of things against the wall, sometimes whole skeletons of things that are mounted to the wall, things that you wouldn't want in your household, let alone in an establishment. Things half rotten hanging there. But it seems to be fairly well frequented, and people patronize it despite the harsh words that this creature begins to blare at them as they order products. The barrier himself quickly scoots inside and begins to make his way towards one of the doors to the western part of it, and turns and stops to look back at Kahareth and to Arphef, and how well Tabitha wants to approach this, or be seen, or...
I will follow in and make my way up to Kahareth.
Okay.
Hey, you really fudged it. Yeah, you fudged it there in the square.
Huh. I knew that was you, Tabitha. What are you doing here?
Oh, well, I saw you kind of sneaking off with that other guy, and it looked interesting because, you don't normally get mixed up with them. And, was I right? What did you do?
While we're having this conversation, I will separately be sending a message to the barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you go anywhere, friend. And that fella, he said he didn't do the thing they said that he did.
I didn't do the thing they said that I did.
Oh,
What's...
Tabitha, this is my friend. I'm sorry, friend, I didn't catch your name.
You never asked for my name, to be honest with you.
How rude of me.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask for yours either. Gedrimak.
All right, Gedrimak, what are we doing here?
As I said, we've come somewhere to talk. And he turns and looks to this doorway that you all stopped at. He pushes the door open, and inside it looks like just some plain old storeroom. He turns back to you all and says, I apologize for what I'm about to do. What do you call a can opener that does not work? A can't opener. And suddenly, in the doorway of the portal begins to spark and flash, and blue light begins to trace around it. And before you, a portal opens, just snapping into existence.
Oh, well, I quite like that one.
He sort of motions a hand. My private quarters.
Arphef, who's been through a lot prior to even getting the sigil, says why not? Yet another adventure. He just takes the lead through the door, following.
Okay. So Arphef pops from the alehouse and disappearing into the portal itself.
Oh, look at that. He's got more nuts than any of us. And I walk right through.
Okay. Tabitha disappears.
After you, friend.
You sure don't want to hold hands or something before we go in?
I reach for his hand.
He just sighs, takes it, and begins to walk through as the two of you draw into the portal, and it closes behind you. Okay, Ilya.
As we come out of the portal,
Mm-hmm.
I'll pull him in for a hug. I think we really did come closer through this.
Yeah. Meet. Yeah. And his arm sort of goes limp as it falls from your back. And we'll move on to Ilya's scene here. You said you decided to go around looking for some of your fellow faction members. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're not actually my faction, but around here it seems like just to be an independent is a bad idea. So a clever one, or a wise one rather, would probably ally with multiple factions.
Okay.
The Chaos Attacks being one of my favorites. Not to mention they have a lot of people within their faction that I actually do know from other lives. So I will go somewhere where I know that I've got some lieutenants, as far as the Chaos Men have any kind of system of hierarchy or order, someone that knows other people, essentially.
Okay.
That's more or less anywhere, right?
Pretty much around this area, yeah.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't take you long to find someone that you knew based on what I was given a description of the hive already as it is, and the layer of the chaos attacks that have taken root here. Just don't ask me to talk like them, please.
Okay.
We'll decipher talk.
Yeah.
So, who's one of your buddies within this faction?
Well, Seja is a delight. She's a highly capable, highly talented individual herself.
Okay.
Did you catch that beautiful disaster?
That's why I love the hive so much.
I wonder if they chose the hive specifically to put on such events. Because they know we'd like it.
It's probably the only place they can get away with such things. No one gives a shit about the hive, after all.
I give a shit.
Anyway, I'm sure you're not here just to make pleasant
Yeah.
small talk with
The
me.
universe has seen fit to basically dump the residual effects of the aforementioned events into our laps. I have the information. I want to give it to you, and y'all decide what you want to do with it. The creature in question, it's a fiend, isn't it?
The barrier?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not a fiend.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's not a fiend.
It's
What do I
definitely
know
it's
about
definitely a planar creature. I don't remember DM wise
Okay.
directly where they come from. They definitely are a planar entity though. Not much different from a centaur. I mean, they have their own society and stuff. There's no like affiliation like chaos or evil or they're pretty much like any other humanoid type race.
Okay. That one and a hardhead and a dwarf, random dwarf, went to the butcher's block. That's where I saw them last, and they were there, not but 3 minutes ago.
I see. So I'm going to assume this would be Gudgermak, correct?
The name of the...
The barrier, yes.
I don't know. I didn't catch his name.
He's quite the frequenter there.
Well, the way that the Doom Guards say it, when I asked, they were told to them, the Hardheads and the Mercy Killers, all together, were told by a single governor, which, fuck them, that this guy was to be killed, but they didn't give me any, like, reasons or anything like that. And usually, you know, they're not just willy-nilly, and they're not, like, brought out unless there's, like, a serious problem. So I'm thinking that there are some serious planar implications going on here.
That is quite interesting, is it not? She sort of sits back and thinks for a moment. If Gedrimak is involved, it's either over goods or spoken goods. Seems to be a purveyor of both. Secrets tend to be a little bit more valuable in the city. I wonder what a governor would want with that.
Well, there's a great way to find out, and that is to go ask. He's in our territory.
So he didn't get hanged, huh?
No. You didn't. That's the beautiful disaster I am referring to.
This is interesting information. And I suppose I owe you something for that, do I not?
I want to see what you do with it. That's why I'm here. We make things out of this.
I will get back to you on that then.
Cool. I'm going to go and hang out there and see what else I can glean.
Okay. So you begin to make your way back to the butcher's block. The other four here, you have popped into existence in what looks to be some sort of private chamber. There's one large table and a bar behind it. I wouldn't say that it's high class. It's definitely not low class, though. It doesn't look like it really belongs in the hive. Well lit with candelabras. There's a rich, thick carpet underneath the table itself. And the barrier begins to move to the bar and just grabs a bottle off of it and begins to move back to the table. Well, shall we have a seat and talk then?
Arphef grabs one of the seats kind of opposite him and says, it's about time I got to rest my feet.
Stand up against a wall or a bookshelf.
Okay.
Lean up against it and cross my arms. Just wait.
Okay. He looks to Kahareth, looking for some sort of reaction. Goes ahead and decides to grab 3 ceramic mugs and lays them on the table before him. Or I should say 4. And begins to pop the cork on this thing and begins to pour himself a drink and sets the bottle down. And sort of sits back on his haunches. His elbow crooked on the table with the drink towards his lips. I really appreciate what you did for me back there. So, what can I do to answer your questions?
Arphef takes the bottle after he sets it down and pours himself a drink, probably more than he should. It's been a rough couple of days, and looks back at the barrier and says, "You owe nothing to me in the way of answers. no interest in your goings-ons here. Perhaps later discussion about this city and where exactly it is that I find myself, but that is all you owe me.
You're definitely not from around here. His eyes shift from Tabitha to Kahareth and back. Well, I know you especially had questions.
I sent a message to Tabitha. Said, what are you doing here?
I offer another wry smile and I say, I'm actually just here out of curiosity, but if you have something you'd like to give me, I'll take it. As long as it's good, of course.
Friend, I'm no friend to the Doom Guards. I don't think they have any friends, really. But they suggested that you were up to no good. Were you up to no good?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure why they got me. And it's not because, and I'll be honest, my business affairs aren't always legitimate. But in this case, I am unaware. The only thing I am doing right now is looking for one person. And if for some reason that information got out and excited somebody, then I suppose I would understand. But the person I'm looking for is of no real consequence.
Who are you looking for?
His name is Eliath. He used to be some prime. Landed here maybe 3 years ago. He was deep into planar studies. Portals got mixed up with Planeswalkers guilds. And there was rumor that he had some information. A portal to a demi-plane known as the Isle of Black Trees. Said there might be something worthwhile there. Rumor has it he went missing about 3 months ago. Missing in the sense that he ended up in the dead book. And then a week later, people swore they saw him walking the city once again. Spouting off all sorts of crazy talk, as if he'd went barmy.
Arphef says, death book, and kind of raises his eyebrow at the mention of that.
Someone killed him.
And y'all keep books of that? Okay, interesting.
Quite literally, yes. Yes, we do.
Do you not record deaths where you're from?
Not in a way in which it would just appear inside this death book. Did a person write his name down? How did they come to be in this book? If somebody didn't witness his death.
Nobody has to witness the death. You just gotta find a body.
So a body was found?
Indeed. Bodies are big business around here.
Dead or alive, really.
Why don't you guys give me insight checks real quick?
16.
16.
25.
25, wow.
11 for me.
11 for you. Tabitha, you take the talk as he's just sort of like explaining himself to someone who's not from around the city. Kahareth and Arphef, you feel that there's something a little bit more that he's trying to emphasize when he's talking about the dead in the city itself right now. As if he's willing to expunge more, but is sort of holding back.
I apologize. I'm not from around here, but certainly the idea of this death book and now this person being back. I mean, clearly you guys don't keep as good records as you'd think.
Most of the records are kept at mortuary. Dustmen are pretty meticulous about who enters that book. Their entire faction's almost based around it. The problem is, lately, there's been a lot more questionable deaths occurring around here.
Well, I've found that all creatures and organizations are susceptible to corruption, as far as I can see, so would not be surprised to see that may have befell the Duskman here. Surely there's value in having names appear in dead books that aren't actually dead.
Very astute.
Thank you.
The only thing that concerns, I wouldn't say it concerns me per se. A lot of the folks, lately at least, who are being picked up by the collectors don't seem to have a scratch on them. And they're usually the downtrodden, the barmy. People that nobody would miss. Just a lot of strange things going on. Not only here, but in the plains themselves lately.
Not a scratch, not starvation, not exposure.
Can find no cause of death other than the cause that they have died.
Tabitha looks extremely uncomfortable at this thought.
Question: as a member of the city guard, is what he's saying ringing any bells for the information that I would be exposed to?
You have heard that there has been a definite uptick. Collectors have been making a lot more jink around the city, finding more bodies, selling more. It's mortuary. Definitely the business has been very booming lately. And he is correct. They're definitely not people of any status. Just general folk. And generally people who have either a bad reputation or no reputation within the hive themselves.
Friend, are you saying that you uncovered some mysterious conspiracy where folks were getting killed?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that around the same time that Goliath had went missing, these events intersected. What confused me was the return of Goliath. And I'm sure you might even find some of these other people who have appeared in the Dead Book. Maybe wandering the streets now and we don't even realize it. people become invisible out there. Because no one knows who they are. But I'm just concerned about the one.
That Elias fella, is that right?
You mentioned a demi-plane or I'm sorry, you mentioned the Isle of Dead Trees. What, if anything, do we know of this? I've been out of my fair share of strange places. Maybe its existence isn't the source of this?
He sort of shrugs. I can't confirm or deny that. It's just rumored that Eliath had a lot of dealings in it. A lot of his studies were centered around that. He was borderline obsessed with it at one point. We only know, or at least the rumors say, that there was a great wealth contained within it. Now, wealth can be interpreted in many different ways. Could be gold, could be information, could be power. Sort of shrugs it off again and takes a long drink. Whatever it is, it's valuable.
I sit down and make myself comfortable. Friend, before we go any further, I just want to acknowledge our other friends here who risked a great deal to secure your freedom. Now, I am just a humble servant of the city here. But these two should be compensated properly for what they did, and you seem to be doing pretty well for yourself. So if you would settle up with them.
And what are the other one?
To whom are you referring, sir?
The one with the rope.
Not me. I didn't see her come in. She might have gone elsewhere.
Oh, so...
Sounds like a half share each for the two of us.
So we have a third party here. Interesting.
Oh, I'm the third part. I'm just here for me.
He smiles a little bit and gets up. Moves behind the bar. Here's some clinking noises. And he comes back. 2 small pouches. Tosses them to the two of you. I'm not as well off as you think I am.
Take a look.
What you see inside looks to be about 100 copper commons. It's a general currency of the city. Roughly related to gold pieces, at least within the city itself.
I pocket it. Should I mark that as gold on my character?
Yeah, just go ahead and mark it as gold.
Okay.
Perfect. Arphef kind of looks over some of the coins. He doesn't act as though they're devalued because of their copper making, but just kind of takes note of the new currency he's never seen before, and then does the same thing and pockets it.
Okay.
Do I feel like I know, if I wanted to, how I could get out of this demiplane?
You can make me an intelligence check if you'd like.
That's an 11.
An 11. So, when you approach the door with the barrier, the only thing you know is that he made some sort of pun or joke, and that is when the door opened. And looking behind you, you can see the outline of a door in the wall itself, but no door actually. The whole area is sealed off besides that.
So my general knowledge of planes or demi-planes would be that the way we entered is the same way we would go out.
Presumably. Yes. And the key might be similar, might be completely different.
All right. Well, friend, you have my attention. Surely you had the Doom Guard's attention. Don't you cut to the chase and tell us exactly what it is you think's going on here? Do you think this fella is up to no good? I mean, why were you looking for him in the first place? Someone dying and coming back to life, that ain't exactly impossible.
No, definitely not around the plains. And considering that you're such a servant of the public, I think we could serve both of our interests, don't you think? I'm looking for someone, and you're looking for someone who's killing people. And presumably the person I'm looking for was killed and brought back. And perhaps he's dead again, I'm not sure. Perhaps if we find Goliath, we can find out why. We both get what we want. Yes?
Tell me what you know about this Goliath fellow.
I just know that he is an old scholarly man. Actually wore a green robe, some funny religious symbol on it. I'm not familiar with it. Used to say that he was from some land called... what was it? He sort of sits there and ponders. Was it a beer Toril? Perhaps. It's been so long since I've spoken to him. But, as I said, he's an elderly man, thin, gaunt, dark eyes, human, long, scraggly white beard. He's got a touch of the plains in his eyes, as if he's seen too much. You know how those primers get when they come out here. He sort of smiles as he says it.
My eyes go wide at the mention for a second.
You haven't told me yet. Why were you looking for him?
As I said, I was looking for some information on this Isle of the Black Trees. I think there's money to be made there. And if I can help him find it, it would suit both of our interests. You find Goliath, I pay you, and we can either solve this terrible affliction upon Sigil, or we can further this relationship and perhaps go find this Isle of Black Trees and see what it holds.
I like both.
I like you.
No, well, you're not so bad yourself, are ya?
All right, well, where do we find this Elias fella?
If I knew that, I wouldn't need you to find him, now would I?
Where did you last see this Elias fella, or know of his whereabouts?
The last time I knew his whereabouts was mortuary, where they signed him in when his body was taken in.
You claimed that people swore that they saw him about the city. Do we know whereabouts those sightings were?
Again, it was a claim. Nothing that I've seen with my own two eyes. But some saw they may have seen him hanging around I think it was the clerk's ward. It was near one of the palaces. Sort of scratches his lip thinking. Maybe it was the court of the jester. Many places he's been seen in the city.
Well, for a dead man, he certainly gets around now, doesn't he?
That was my thoughts.
Speaking of palaces, you mentioned that a governor made the claim against you. Do you know who that person was? I mean, clearly they must have some interest in all of this.
Well, let's just say I don't have the biggest fan in Governor Devarius. He shares a similar industry to mine. We have been at odds for some time now. If anyone was to have some hand in my hanging, I would say it would probably be him. But secrets are big business. Especially in the City of Doors. It could be so many people.
Yeah, we'd have no way of knowing if that governor's interest laid in this Alioth person or just in personal business with you.
He nods his head to that. Well, I suppose you could talk to him. If you're feeling really ballsy, you could go talk to Shemeska. You might not make it back out alive, but if you're looking for information, Shemeska is the one to go talk to.
Shemeska being...
An Arcanoloth. She is...
I interrupt and say, we aren't going to be talking to no Shemeska.
Sort of shrugs. You're looking for secrets. She's the one to go to. You know that.
All right, well, I can't speak for these two. Obviously, this is of interest to the city, so I will be following up on these leads. But I don't think these folks are going to work for free.
Name your price. What is your time worth?
Well, if 100 of these copper coins is payment for rescue today, perhaps that is a fair daily wage. Although I know not the value of these coins here.
He sort of was taking a drink as you said that and begins to cough into his...
You actually hear a giggle from behind you where I'm standing.
I don't know where you come from, but I would sure as hell love to visit. If 100 a day is a living wage.
Oh, I didn't say a living wage, but a wage worthy of my time, perhaps.
If you want a wage per day, I will pay you 3 commons per day. Or we can work in a lump sum, whichever you prefer.
I look back towards Tabitha, being as I have no frame of reference for the value here, and just kind of shrug my shoulders.
I suppose the best question is how much is his return worth to you? You say that you can get money from whatever secrets he may have.
Let's say this. If you find reliable information on his whereabouts, I will give you 200 commons. If you bring him to my doorstep, I will pay you 1,000.
Deal.
Double deal.
And as you guys begin to barter over the cost of a man's life, Ilya, you've made your way to the butcher's block.
I take it I don't see anyone that I'm looking for.
Nobody that you noticed before.
Okay,
Just a very, very angry ogre and a bunch of patrons inside.
that's normal.
Basically.
After taking a look around, well, I'm gonna see what I can see first.
Okay.
Any residue from them.
Do you want to use your ability?
If I don't find anything, I will be using my ability. Yes.
Okay. So it's been a while since you've left and come back from the chaos attack. You don't find any residue per se. Using your ability, you do know that there is one very close to you.
Okay.
Enough to pinpoint a direction within the bar itself.
Okay. All right. Does it have any kind of signature to it that would indicate it as a personal plane?
You would know it to be a pocket dimension. So it's not going to obviously to one of the main planes, one of the main outer planes. It just seems to be some sort of pocket dimension that maybe have been of some sort of magical fabrication at some point.
Okay. All right. There are things that can do that people can't be in there forever with. So I think I'm going to order a drink and put my feet up at the bar and wait.
Okay. So you put your feet up, grab yourself a drink, and you know the ogre's name is Trunfield Threetooth. It's not a clever name. He only has 3 teeth.
He's been around a while.
But he's very angry all the time. Pissed off, curses people out for ordering drinks from his establishment because it's a waste of his time. So you kick back and enjoy yourself.
I'll be his hype man whenever he kicks someone out. I'll be like, yeah, you tell him.
You tell him, Trunfield.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we'll go back into the pocket dimension here. You guys have made a deal.
Listen here, Judge Mac. As a representative of the city, I want to remind you that I know your name, I know where you live, and I know how to get in here. So if I find out that what these Doomguard folks, if you really were up to no good, I'll be back.
Right
now, I don't see any reason to haul you out. But just so you know where I stand, I am not for sale.
Very interesting. And okay. Why don't you go ahead and make me a perception check too while you're at it. I should go ahead and have Tabitha do it as well. I would have Arphef do it, but he will know nothing about this, so.
12.
12?
Oh, that was pretty good. It's a 16 plus 5, 21.
Okay. You two notice as he sort of, he's got his drink and he's moving around talking and elaborating with his hands. You do see a sigil upon him, and you recognize it as he is one of the signers. Signers are people that believe that everyone is the center of their own reality, and that they can reshape it by the power of imagination. So it would stand to reason why this man would probably have the perceived notions that he does towards bettering himself and doing that at any cost whatsoever.
Okay. Well, I think we're done here then.
Would appear so.
Same way out as in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you got the gist of it yet?
I suppose so. And then I say, what do you call a broken can opener?
Okay. And the portal flashes to life as it has been incited with its terrible joke.
It's a beautiful joke. It's a beautiful one. Just love it.
And it tears open a hole in space in reality and opens before you. Ilya, you will also instantly catch this. Just from your background, you almost instantly alert yourself in the direction of this and see the three of them bereft of the barrier. I would assume all leave.
I would grab my glass, pour one more, half cup, and then walk out with this glass in hand. Yep.
Okay.
I too stand up and I very casually just start following them like I'm part of the group.
Okay. You guys are going to.
I have a question.
Sure.
I did see you at one point. Okay, never mind. That's not my no.
Yeah, you definitely have seen her at some point.
I'm just going with it.
Okay. Three of you are walking out, I assume, and you will take pace behind you. And you walk into the streets of Sigil, where it's been a few hours now, afternoon, and a light rain has once again begun to fall and strikes the stones in its soft little patter, and the smoke from the fires from the houses begins to fill. And as you look upon it, you can see the city high above you that spins around itself. And I think...
Question. Are there clouds present when it rains, or am I just looking directly up at other city streets?
You were just looking up almost at other city streets, and you don't see actually really where the smoke goes. It just seems to coalesce in the center. Everything here is artificial. The light, the rain, the warmth, the cold. Don't know where the origin of it is, per se. It just exists.
Arphef just kind of scratches his well-kept beard and just says, I'll never get how this city works.
So see the dwarf scratching, looking up at the city that circles around him, and questioning the very existence of it. And I think of any place, that's probably a good place for us to go ahead and end this evening. So everybody, welcome to the cage.
That was beautiful.
And I think we'll just take, if you don't mind, just take a few minutes and just let everybody know who you are. If you got anything going on, where they can find you at. We can just go in the same order, that'd be great.
Casey H on social media, and you can also catch me on Saturday mornings. Usually, we're taking a break for 2 weeks, but usually we'll be available on the Half Rate Hero show on the Open for Adventure channel, where I am playing Nos, the Hobgoblin Azamar Barbarian Fighter, which is a delight, with Karl all over there. So there's that. And over to you, Karl.
Hi, I'm Karl. I also play on Saturdays on the same channel at the same time as Casey. And as you said, we are taking a 2-week break. However, tomorrow, starting actually in 2.5 hours, the Open for Adventure channel is doing a 24-hour extra life D&D marathon. So D&D 24 hours. Going to be, I think, 6 or 7 different games with stuff in between. Also, a chance to win a D&D Beyond Legendary Bundle. So you just hop in chat. There will be a link to enter the raffle.
Very cool.
Tune in. You don't have to give money to charity, but you can, and it's appreciated if you do.
Very cool.
And I will turn it over to Jeff.
Perfect, thank you. I am Jovar of Celestia. You can find me on Twitter by the same name. I play D&D here for the first time as part of the show. So not a lot else I put out there, but hopefully more to come. So.
Oh, that's me. Hi, I'm Aras. I'm a Stitchy Witch. I make stuff. You can find all the stuff that I make at aristobot.com. You can find me on Twitter. I play a lot of RPGs. On Tuesday, actually, we have a finale for Witch Girls RPG.
Oh, cool.
It is season 2, and we are finishing that up. There's a giveaway going. There's all sorts of stuff going on right there. So that's gonna be so much fun. Yeah. Oh, and that's on Little Red Dot's Twitch. That's important.
Yeah, I love Chelsea.
Yes.
She's one of my favorite people.
Also, you can catch me making stuff most weekdays on my Twitch channel. Go figure. It's at Aristobot. Yep, that's it.
Okay.
That's all I got. I gotta get better at this.
And I have been Saevrick. I've been your dungeon master. I've been your best friend. You can catch, I guess, this crew here, because this is the only show I'm doing, now every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 Central. I don't know what that is GMT, but I'm sure someone will tell you. Otherwise, you can catch me on the Twitch here. Sometimes I stream some retro games. I've been doing like Zelda Randomizer and Super Metroid. And I think I'm going to play some Castlevania this weekend just for shits and giggles. Otherwise, you can find me on the Twitters at Saevrick. So, yeah, that's all I got going on. Anything else from you guys before we hit the goodbye button?
This was fantastic, and you did a hell of a good job.
Thank you.
So
Retweet that.
You guys are awesome. This is going to be a lot of fun, and we get to have MK join us next week. So
I'm so excited for Fridays now.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks everybody for who. I thank everybody who for. I am a case of tech. Thanks everybody for showing up. Really appreciate it for the support for our inaugural episode. So we'll see you next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See y'all later. I have buttons to change stuff. Hee hee.